Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Gigi Report. We're glad that you tuned in. Today is going to be very, very interesting. And today we want to address ourselves to a very, very serious debate that has been in the public domain, the issue of public debt. I know this is it's both political and technical. Today we're going to try and unravel this and see where exactly what the issues are in regard to public debt. And as you know, the Gigi Report is a platform for big, bold ideas and honest conversations on various subjects like, political, economic, social, theological, and philosophical. But today we're going to look at economic issues. I have a guest here today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, my guest today is Dr. Abraham Rugo. Dr. Abraham Rugo is the International Budgets Partnership Country Manager for Kenya. He's based in Nairobi. And Dr. Rugo is clearly an expert. Dr. Rugo graduated with a PhD in public management from the University of Potsdam, Germany. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Good. So I would like us to begin. I would like to hear, first of all, we'll hear more about Dr. Rugo's story. And then before we go to talk about the economics, the finances and all that. So, Dr. Rugo, you're a good man, and we have now been friends. You actually came on my show last time when we were doing it online through Facebook and Zoom.
Yes.
But now you're here in person. So, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Very good.
Yeah.
So let's start with your career background in public management. If you can tell us where you began, how you got where you are, I think that would be very good.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting career, I must say. Now when I look back, I realize it started earlier than I thought.
Okay.
Back in high school, we had a chance to apply and be elected to be school captains.
Okay.
And therefore I applied and I was elected school captain of Nakuru High School then.
Okay.
And got into a bit of understanding of a bit of management at that particular time, as well as in the Christian Union.
Yes.
But it's in campus when I decided to join student politics, and I was elected vice president of the Kenyatta University Student Association then, in 2003.
Okay.
But then it became clear that I had an opportunity. So there I was involved. I was head of academic affairs, and therefore I sat in a lot of meetings within the Senate.
Okay.
Discussing academic programs, discussing the welfare of students and what have you. And I came firsthand into just what power people in decision positions wield.
Yes.
That they can decide this program will be ended and it will be ended.
Yes.
Or they can decide this program will start and it will start.
Yes.
They can decide a campus will be set up and it will be set up.
Okay.
So it's at that time that I got very interested in public governance.
Okay.
And I said, I think now I want to devote the rest of my life. I was training to be a teacher of maths and physics. But then I started getting very interested in economics and political science.
Okay.
So when I graduated, I didn't even look for a possibility to be a teacher.
Okay.
God opened a way. I got an internship as a policy and legislative work
Okay.
at the Fellowship of Christian Unions.
Yes.
And when I was done there, it was clear now that's a journey I wanted to spend my life on.
Okay.
So I sought an opportunity at the Institute of Economic Affairs,
Okay.
again for another internship, now in a more specialized, focused organization
Yes.
dealing with economics.
Yes.
Well, let's say the rest has been the story, because from there I went for my master's in public management, and then later my PhD in public management. So I can say I have spent the last comfortably 15 years in this very space of trying to, I believe strongly that God calls people
Okay.
to serve in a certain space.
Yes.
And we see examples in the Bible, men and women who came from almost what you consider a lay life and right into very senior positions of leadership.
All right.
Daniel, Joseph, their stories, Esther,
Yes.
they were not necessarily trained in public service. Daniel maybe is an exception.
Yeah.
But I believe that in any society, God does call people.
Okay.
And for me, I think the call is clear, to be involved in public management for the very reason of working to improve God's people's lives.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. There is, of course, the sense that let's talk about the academic bit of
Yes,
it.
yes.
So you got a chance to study. Did you do your master's and a PhD in the same place?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened is that after it was clear that this is what I wanted to spend my life in,
Yeah.
my initial training was not in economics or
Okay.
political science, it was
Yes.
in maths and physics.
Yes.
So there's one process of basically joining a field,
Yes.
but also just improving my ability to engage
Okay.
in that sense.
Yes.
That's when I started out looking for a scholarship, and I was very clear I wanted to go abroad,
Yes.
out of the country,
Yeah.
and just see how other people run their countries.
Exactly.
I had been here for about, worked here from the university about 7 years, from 2003.
Yes.
And I believe that there's a place where you can see a different way.
Okay.
It may not be necessarily the best,
Yes.
but a different way.
Yes.
Of course, checked a couple of places and finally landed in Germany.
Okay.
The least of my expectations, because I had to learn the language and many other things.
Okay.
But really the inspiration was go find a place where you can see a different way of doing things.
Okay.
I learn. It was also nice because then the scholarship there also was accompanied by family, so I was able to bring my family along to Germany for the 4.5 years. For the 4 years, the half was the language course.
Okay.
So really that was really the motivation. So I did it in the same place. I was awarded my PhD offer after excelling very well in my master's.
Okay.
And therefore I was asked, whenever you are ready, just come and take up the chance.
Okay. So you did the first 4 years, you did your master's program.
No. I did my master's program for a year. It was a career master's, so it was 1 year, and then the PhD for 3 years.
Oh, okay. 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 That's how it worked out.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
How hard is it to do a PhD in Germany, or is it easy?
I think the hard part is getting the scholarship. It's
Okay.
highly competitive.
Yes.
It's tough.
Okay.
And for somebody like me who was coming from a totally different field,
Yes.
it was fairly, at some point it was quite difficult. But it's a very easy place to live in. You do it in English, so you don't have to do it in German.
Okay.
The German language is that you have to learn it for your survival.
Yeah.
for
So
your day.
to get around.
Get around, get your day-to-day interactions. The key people you need, including the secretary to the professor, speaks German.
Okay.
The professor may speak English, but
Yeah.
the secretary speaks German.
Okay.
And you need to find your way to the professor. But we found it. We found it a fairly good place. I know it's not. When you don't have a job, it can be a bit taxing and difficult.
Yeah.
But for us, God gave us favor.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's come to the issue on the
Yeah.
ground. So I will ask you, what do you make of the current debate on debt revenue?
Yeah.
Is Kenya broke?
Yeah. First, I would say yes. I think we are broke.
Okay.
And when does somebody become broke? You become broke, and broke is just basically, it simply means that your expenditures do not match your income.
Okay.
Take it in a household level. You have projects, you have school fees, you have a car to pay for, and all that comes maybe to about 200,000.
Yes.
But your income is only 100,000 or
Yes.
even less.
Yes.
So technically you're broke, because
Yes.
what it means is that for you to fill in the extra gap,
Yeah.
and these are daily expenses.
Yes.
These, I mean, if it's
They
a
are,
loan,
they are recurrent.
they are recurrent expenses.
Yes.
So every month,
Yes.
there's a bill, there's an invoice coming to your house
Yes.
of 200,000,
Yes.
but you're 100,000.
Yes.
It means by the time you're ending the year, you
Yeah.
have a shortfall of 1.2 million.
Yes.
Then you're broke.
You're broke.
What happens in a state, like in a household level, you get auctioned.
Yes.
You know, your debtors come chasing you down, and they mortgage you. But for a country like Kenya, when we say a country is actually broke, is that, so there are two things that we look at
Yes.
within what we call the fiscal framework.
Yeah.
Broadly,
Yeah.
we look at the kind of expenditure and the level of expenditure.
Okay.
First,
Yes.
so the kind of expenditure is we are spending in education.
Yes.
We want to our children to be able to go to school without paying school fees. So that is a kind of expenditure.
Yes.
But there's a level. How much are we going to spend in education vis-a-vis healthcare, vis-a-vis infrastructure,
Yes.
vis-a-vis agriculture,
Yes.
vis-a-vis foreign policy, vis-a-vis defense
Yes.
and national security?
Yes.
So we look at the expenditure.
Yes.
Then you look at the revenues and ask yourself, where are we going to get the money to first incur the type of expenditure we want? So
Yes.
the type of expenditure, let me go back a bit.
Yes.
The type of expenditure is
Yes.
not determined by a politician or
Okay.
a policymaker.
Yes.
It's already determined in the Constitution. When you read the Bill of Rights,
Yes.
chapter 4 of our Constitution,
Yes.
it is very clear on what are the entitlements, and suffice to use that word,
Yeah.
what are the entitlements of Kenyans.
Yeah.
We have
yes.
said there, you know, we are going to be, have freedom of association. We are going to have a right to education, a right to healthcare, a right to, proper livelihoods. All those are entitlements.
Yes. So at that point, that's where whatever happens, every public budget planning system
Has to take from there.
Has
So
to-
you cannot come and say, for instance, I'm not going to budget for healthcare.
Yes.
It's no longer my business to provide. The
Yeah.
Constitution, and that's why the president
Yes.
swears into office,
Yes.
once elected to form a government,
Yes.
by the Constitution.
Yes.
So that I will implement this Constitution without favor, and without bias.
Yes.
But then come to, so once what you spend on is determined, what is left to policy
Yes.
conversation
Yes.
is how
Yes.
much
How much? Yeah.
within the pot of resources that are available.
Exactly.
To make it again further, in the Constitution of Kenya,
Yeah.
we have two levels that we have determined that the way we are going to deliver this package of rights or this package of goods,
Yes.
services, and works
Yeah.
is some will be delivered by the national government and
Yes.
some will go to the county governments.
Okay.
So there are two levels there.
Yeah. So that's the current framework.
That's the current framework.
Yes.
But let's come to the revenue side.
Yes.
So if then the government has a responsibility to deliver public services,
Yes.
then they also have a right to access resources.
Yes. So yes, the government has a right to come for us.
Yes. So
come
they have
to us
they have a responsibility. Yes, they have a right to come to you.
Yes.
On the other hand, you
Yes.
have a right to access the services, but
Yes.
you also have a responsibility to finance those services.
Actually, I think one of the, while we are on that, I think the whole idea of balancing rights and responsibility, I think is one thing that is still, it doesn't come in the debate, because I think most of the time we keep talking about the right, you
Yeah.
know, that this government is not taking us seriously, it's not fulfilling our rights. We have a right to education, healthcare, and all that, and this government is failing us. While on the other hand, once you start talking about tax, everybody becomes very sensitive.
But there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. So it's the agreement between a state and its populace. So
Yes.
what we call, so between the polity and the policy,
Yeah,
between the people and their government,
yeah,
is that it's a two-way relationship. We
Exactly.
call it a social contract.
yeah. It's a
It's
social
not a
contract.
signed contract.
Yes.
It's not like where me and my employer.
Yeah.
I owe my employer certain goods and services that I need to provide.
Yeah.
And certain functions I need to perform.
Yeah.
He owes me my salary at the end
Yes.
of the month. So it can't come to the end of the month and we start discussing whether he will pay me or not.
Yes,
But in a country,
Yes.
what we have is that we have a social contract.
Contract, yes.
This social contract implicitly means that I, as a citizen, will have a right to access certain package of public goods, services, and works.
Yes.
You, as my representative that I have elected as government, have a responsibility
Yes.
to ensure that that is done.
Yes.
But there is a reverse of the contract,
Yes.
that I also have a responsibility to facilitate you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
By being an active citizen,
Me, citizen, I have a responsibility.
I have a
to facilitate.
responsibility
Yeah.
of doing a couple of things. One, I have a responsibility to participate. That's
Yes.
what we bring in public participation.
Yes.
To be involved in the decision making in governance. But I have elected a set of people
Yes.
to make decisions for and on my behalf, but
Okay.
not without my consultation. That's where public participation comes in.
Yes.
But taxation also falls exactly there.
Yes.
That I will also pay certain taxes
Yes.
from my labors to
Yes.
be able to facilitate you as government to
Yes.
provide those services.
Yeah.
But what happens when the contract is broken, where the weaker one, the citizen, still pays taxes,
Yes.
but the government does not provide the services,
Yes.
or the reverse,
Yes.
which is rare,
Yeah.
the government provides the services, but the citizen does not pay the tax.
Yeah.
That's where the problem comes in.
Yes.
Because you hear, I mean, for those who have traveled,
Yeah.
I lived in Germany.
Yeah.
The level of taxation, when you put everything together from my colleagues there, they tell me sits somewhere between 40 and 45%
Yes.
of your monthly income.
Yes.
But there's no day you wake up and find there's no water on your taps.
Yes.
There's no day you wake up and find that for strange reasons, there's no power today.
Yes.
There's no electricity today.
Okay.
You will not go to a hospital and not find a doctor because they have not been paid. Neither will you take a child to school and not find a teacher.
Yes.
In other words, the end of the contract is being honored, and therefore the paying of the tax is not a laborious process.
Yes.
It's not a painful extortion kind of a process.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, when the service is not being provided,
Yeah.
but the tax is being collected,
Yes.
then you are basically being extorted.
Yes.
It becomes a system, Yamajambas.
Yeah.
Where basically,
Yamajambas.
yes, where you are being extorted from, but
Yeah.
there's nothing being given back in return.
Okay.
So I think there's need for that conversation.
Yes.
Where, if governments at the county level, at national level, are not providing basic things as security, both human and physical security,
Yeah.
then I have a responsibility to take care of myself.
All right.
If I have a responsibility to take care of myself, if I have to pay the county parking,
Yes.
but still have to worry about my car
Yes.
being secure,
Yeah.
then I have to make a choice.
Yes. Between just making alternative arrangements.
Alternative arrangements.
Yes.
Because if I still have to pay for a permit at the parking, but I still have to clean the street that it leads to my shop, because then I need my customers to come, but I still have to worry about the security
Yes.
of where my shop is and whether I will wake up and so I've taken time to explain that, because that social contract, when broken,
Yes.
it cannot be fixed by electing new people.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it has to become a decision by those who then are leading and those who are being led.
Yes.
On how then they renegotiate.
Exactly.
That renegotiation in politics, in
Yes.
political science,
Yeah.
is then becomes the debate of elective politics,
Yes.
where people say every 5 years we will renegotiate the social contract. We
Yes.
put GG there,
Yes.
he failed us.
Yes.
So let's look for Otieno or Wafula or whoever else there.
Yes.
We hope that they will honor that.
Yes.
But implicitly in the design of any governance system
Yeah.
is an expectation of two things. One, that you're going to be dealing with rational beings.
Yes.
Beings human beings who will make the right decision even if there's a lacuna in the law.
Yes.
We talk of countries like the UK that do not have a written constitution, but things still run.
Yeah. Yes.
But secondly, that there is a certain minimum value system that is
Exactly.
upheld.
Yes, the value system. In fact, I think that's one of the things that doesn't come into the debate, especially when you're dealing with the whole relationship between the public, the consuming public, and the government.
Yeah.
Is that issue of the values.
Yeah.
And that's a major issue.
It's a major issue.
Yeah.
It's a major issue because the value here, and it's beyond integrity.
Yeah.
It is that I, as the person in office and in government, who has been given a public trust,
Yes.
I value the people who have given me that public trust
Yes.
to make decisions that will enable their lives
Yes.
to continue in their desired. And if I am not able to execute that particular expectation, then I should resign from that particular role.
Yes.
So you see this in Japan, you see all this in all these countries.
Yes.
Just something going wrong, a minister resigns.
Yes. Yes.
And says, I don't have the moral authority
Yes.
to continue being in this position because I'm not able to execute my responsibilities.
Yes.
But let's come back to the money. So that value is what you read in Article 201 of the Constitution.
Yeah.
That lists a couple of principles.
Yes.
You know, we don't have time to go back to all the sections of the Constitution that talk about the current value. But here we talk about values of equity.
Yes.
That resources shall be distributed in a manner that is equitable.
Yes.
Where the gains, particularly of public debt,
Yeah.
the gains and burdens are shared both by the current generation and the future generations.
Exactly.
Prudence,
Yes.
transparency,
Yes.
accountability.
Yes.
Basically, what we are saying is that chapter,
Yeah.
that article of the Constitution of Chapter 12
Yeah.
is speaking about that there are certain values that are expected of any duty holder
Yes.
who is going to be using the resources.
Yes.
But what happens?
Yeah.
The current situation we are in
Yes.
is a situation that has been precipitated by three things.
Okay.
First, that there is a clearly broken agreement that the services that Kenyans expect from their government are not coming in the measure and in the quality, in
Yes.
the quantity and in the quality they expect.
Quantity and quality.
Yes, they expect.
Yes.
So if it's in education, people are preferring to go to a private school because public school really is a death trap. You know?
Yeah.
Children but some children have to go there because that's the only option.
Yeah. That's what they can afford.
That's what they can afford.
Exactly.
Or that's all they have.
That's all the options.
Even living.
Those are the options they have.
They have an option of one.
Yeah.
You know, really. That's all they have.
Yes.
So that is one main reason. So
Yes.
there's a lot of apathy, there's a lot of disillusionment, not keen to engage. If you have a chance to get out, you get out.
Yeah.
And that could partly even explain the corruption going on.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to amass as much so that they can create a life for their families.
Yeah.
That is comfortable.
Yeah, and that they can avoid the inefficiencies of government.
Precisely.
And where the government falls short, say, for example, in delivery of health service or education, they have an alternative.
Yeah.
And they do that now fraudulently.
Yeah.
And they are willing to actually step out of moral, obligations to do that.
So because of that private drive in provision of public services, of services that should be publicly guaranteed,
yes,
then you see that whole thinking also creeping into government.
Yes.
There's you see a lot of things that are being done, public processes, but with private ends.
Yes.
Right now we are in the process of trying to, file for beneficial ownership. Why is it such a difficult thing? Because there are many companies that do not have clear owners at the very end, but they are doing trading. They are trading with government. So that's one. So there's a whole area there around accountability, around just how resources are being used properly. The second reason why we are in the current situation is the fact that revenues, economy has not been performing as expected.
Yes.
COVID came in and just made things worse.
Yeah.
And largely the reason why economy is not performing, and I'll explain in the third point, is because the investments don't necessarily seem to be matching what should be happening.
Yes.
So our revenues have been going down. And the reason why revenue is going down is because our claim for employment creation does not match income tax.
Okay.
Which is a strange relationship.
Okay.
Because it would be expected that as you create employment, then income tax, which accounts for about 47% of our revenue, of our ordinary revenue without debt, will be going up. It's going down.
So that's very strange. So employment,
meaning what simply it means is that more companies are shutting down and more people are being pushed out of employment.
Okay.
And getting either into all these, informal employment and the like.
Yes.
But thirdly, is that public expenditure has been continuing on a business as usual.
Going up.
Yeah. It's been going up. Look at it.
Yeah, it's going up. And by the way, while you're that, there are many ways to explain why public expenditure is going up, but we can even now just link it up to for example, the current debate about expanding the executive at the top,
Precisely.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to result in the public expenditure going up.
So if your expenditures are just going up,
yes,
you're spending more and more,
yes,
but you're earning less and less.
Yes.
I mean, there's even no economics required there. The end.
You can see the trouble coming. You can see trouble coming. All right.
And when you listen to what the president said, I think on Monday,
yeah,
or Tuesday,
yeah,
and what the CS on Spice FM said yesterday,
yes,
it simply tells you things are bad.
Things are bad. Yeah. Things are bad. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're following this very closely. You're listening to what we're saying. And there are numbers on the screen. You can text, you can call. Please let us what you think about this debate. I believe we are educating you. We are helping you understand how we are where we are. And Dr. Rugo is really breaking things down. And as you can see, there are so many elements that link up together to create the kind of economic challenge and financial in particular that we are in. So, Dr. Rugo,
yeah.
So I think you have enumerated those three. So you can summarize for us those three elements. So one is
so one, you have a whole apathy question.
Yes.
In participation in the economy.
Okay.
That basically has been driven by a pursuit of private gain through public means.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second one.
The second one is that revenues are going down.
Yes.
They are plummeting and they are going down. But thirdly is that public expenditure seems to be going on an business as usual kind of a trajectory.
Okay.
So what happens in that kind of a mix?
Yeah.
Is that first of all, you have an explained wealth.
Yes.
And mass poverty.
Okay. Yeah. So and so it's like even some of the policies. For example, the other day we talked about stimulus. Before we go to the break, maybe we'll come to that. When you talk about, say, a stimulus program, and you're trying to stimulate, for example, the businesses that suffered so seriously last year, 2020, due to COVID, and then you take that money and you pump it into organizations, companies. Remember, these companies are owned by the same people who actually don't quite need that stimulus. Would rather even the situation where we send some money to people in Kibera. I remember there was a kind of a program.
Overseas, yeah.
Sent some cash to
transfer.
people, cash transfer. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll go into a break. When we come back, we're going to revisit those three elements and also look at the other issues around public debt. And I believe that you're learning. So keep watching, and we'll see you soon after the break.
Gospel Light College, we offer a bachelor's degree in biblical studies and community development. We also offer certificate and diploma courses. January 2021 intake is ongoing. Book your slot today by calling 0713 66 3117 0713 66 3117. Gospel Light College, equipping you intellectually, socially, and spiritually.
All right, welcome back. Before we went on a break, we were talking about some of the three major challenges that are associated with this debt crisis. And apathy on one hand, people not quite willing to engage, and broken trust. And then the other issue is decline of revenue, public revenue, government revenue, and then the absolutely unacceptable growth in expenses or cost of running government. So those are major threats, and they have translated to the situation that we have today. Now, obviously, there has been a debate again from the people who manage public resources that they now want to open up the ceiling. They want to open up the possibility of borrowing more money. So there was recent a debate, and this is what Dr. Rugo, I want you to address, the possible lifting of the ceiling of public, the debt situation. I think we are at 6.9 trillion level, 65% or something like that. And the Treasury is asking, hey, allow us to go all the way to 9 trillion. So can you speak into that actually, and what's going on about this whole issue of borrowing more?
Yeah, so allow me to just connect it to what I said earlier. So what has happened is that because revenues are not growing, our revenues have stagnated at a growth of about an average of 13% per year.
Okay.
Our expenditures have been growing at about, I need to confirm, about 32% or thereabout.
Okay.
And that also means that our gap, our deficit has been growing.
Yes. So
this year alone, we have a deficit of 1 trillion.
Okay.
In other words, it means that we have a budget of about 2.6 trillion. We can finance from ordinary revenue about 1.6 on a good day, because we have already missed a lot of the targets for the year.
Yes.
Which then means that we have a deficit of 1 trillion.
Okay.
So this deficit of 1 trillion is what the CS says. So what do you expect me to do? We have to borrow.
Yes.
But the question is, a big way of reducing the deficit is cutting expenditure.
Yes.
And there is expenditure that definitely we can do away with. You see, when there is a conversation, people can agree even of things that they can reduce on.
Yes.
And focus.
Yes.
Because at the same time, when you look at the private institution, private banks, into which more money was being pumped into, their reserves are huge.
Okay.
They're holding huge reserves of monies, and they are not lending to individuals, it's to you and me, because they are lending to government at a more favorable rate, because they can see, government deficit is going up. Yeah. Government is unassured, as I explained about the tax idea.
Yes.
So why is this push? Just to correct you that the current, if you add the current debt obligations plus publicly guaranteed debt, we're at about 8.4 trillion. 8.4 trillion.
Okay.
If you add the kind of borrowing that is planned for the next half before this half of
before we get to
year,
June,
we'll be at 9 trillion earlier than April or thereabout.
Okay.
So that's why then there's a push to raise the revenue, the ceiling to 12 trillion.
Yeah.
But raising the ceiling does not solve the problem.
Okay.
As I've said here we are dealing with a problem of fiscal prudence.
Yes.
Of planning.
Yes.
The CS said very well, the fiscal consolidation discussion. Fiscal consolidation simply means trying to push as much of non-essential spending out, and even for the essential spending, thinking of different ways of doing the same thing.
Okay.
Of running. Are there projects that can wait? Are there projects that can hold for some time?
Yes.
Is there a way we can think through about the SGR throughput? And balance it with road traffic and things like that, so that then you are making money.
Yes.
So I don't think the raising of, because what happens, it was raised just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
From an absolute figure of 50% of GDP.
Yes.
Sorry, from a percentage number of 50% of GDP.
Yeah.
To an absolute figure of 9 trillion.
Okay.
By that time, I think they already had seen the projections that they're going to be hitting 9 trillion sooner than later.
Okay.
The argument by analysts was that this was a figure that would be reached progressively.
Okay.
2022, 2023.
Yes.
But it's 2021.
Yes.
Of course, you can blame COVID.
Yes.
Though our analysis has shown, the analysis we've done on the International Budget Partnership,
Yeah.
actually the borrowing during COVID time and in the previous time
Yeah.
is the same.
So we were borrowing during COVID like we are borrowing without COVID.
Without COVID. So that tells you COVID has not been a big reason. What
Yes.
COVID has done
Yes.
is that it has affected the revenues.
Okay.
And therefore, the idea that we have borrowed more because there was COVID,
Yes.
I think it's fallacious in itself.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Wow.
The trend of borrowing and the trend of expenditure has remained
The same.
Because if we were borrowing because of COVID,
Yeah.
then why do we have doctors going on strike and nurses going on strike? Because we cannot provide PPEs for them,
Yeah.
and we cannot pay them. Their right.
Their allowances and
their
stuff
allowances. Why don't we have any of the MCAs going to the streets and saying we have not been paid? So of course there's more discussion about how we reward, but the point is that we have in a way made political positions to be prime positions
Yes.
at the expense of other roles,
Right.
so that people see a public position as a place where you go to make money. That's why you have doctors resigning from being doctors to go and become politicians.
That's true.
That's why you have teachers going to become MCAs,
Yes.
because they can see really it doesn't need you to study so much. You don't need to work
No,
so
I mean
hard.
to become
No.
an MCA.
All you need is once you are in there,
Yeah.
you will build a mansion.
Yeah, you build a
No,
mansion.
You will steal money from public coffers,
Yeah.
because very few of them can explain how they have built their wealth.
Yes.
Some can,
Yeah. Yeah.
but some cannot completely explain. how
And,
they
and you
have
see,
arrived.
all these things, they never work in a vacuum. You can't lie to the public. They can
No, you
see
can't.
through it.
Yeah.
So you become an MCA, and 1 year later, you have a serious mansion, all nice and done, and you're driving a 4x4. And for goodness sake,
It doesn't. So
Yeah.
the point I wanted to make is that we have a bigger problem that we need to deal with,
yes,
where we say we are going into fiscal, we are going to cut our expenditure, we are going to reorganize things. Can we do that?
yes.
Can we do exactly that?
Can we
Because-
find the political goodwill to actually
Yeah.
execute that?
And the people who need to make those decisions are there.
Yes,
But as I said, when we were off air,
yeah,
sometimes one gets a sense that there are certain projects, certain programs that cannot be touched.
yes,
Because regardless whether there's money or no money,
Yes.
they must continue.
yes.
For instance, was it necessary to advance the SGR project up to Naivasha at this particular point? Could it have waited?
Okay.
Maybe it could have waited.
Yes,
There are certain expansions of roads and programs that could have waited.
Yes.
But when you add in what the president said about losing 2 billion shillings
Yes.
every day,
yes,
I'm yet to see the numbers
yeah,
and how they arrived at the figure of 2 billion.
yes.
But that was shocking.
I think it's absolutely shocking. It hits us very seriously at the
It's
the root.
shocking, but
Yeah.
it's not so much shocking because of the number.
Yeah.
It's shocking by the person who said it.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Because as I explained earlier,
Yeah.
you people elect people and give them a public trust
Yes,
to be able to manage. Because we all cannot sit in
yeah, we can't sit in that
office
place
and
of
make decision.
yes,
And therefore, I think it's a more honorable thing to say, we have figured out this is the problem and this is what we are going to do about it. That did not
Exactly.
come out.
Yeah.
We are going to deal with it. We are going to fix it. And this is how we are going to fix it. Because if any public leader was to ask what is the top agenda right now, it's winning public trust.
winning public trust.
And public trust is won by the things I have just explained.
Yes,
By ensuring that the social contract is being honored,
yes,
each is honoring their end.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that there are people who will not try and evade paying tax.
okay,
But then that's where the rule of law comes in.
yes,
That basically you're enjoying what you don't want to pay for.
yes, yes,
But also working in a system of fairness by
Yes.
saying, okay, fine, it is clear and it is true that the government may not be able to provide all services.
yes,
What kind of support can they provide to private sector that is providing those services?
yes,
people who have put up schools, what support can they receive from
Yeah,
government?
yeah,
Because
exactly.
the people they are educating
Yes.
are going to be participating and performing in this economy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've gone a bit far, but the point I was trying to say is that I do not think raising the debt ceiling is a solution.
It's
It will
not
just
a solution.
plunge us further deep in.
Yeah, it's just saying, it's like the way now you are looking around your house and saying, I have mortgaged the fridge, I've mortgaged the TV. Can these guys accept my cooking?
Yes,
my
yes,
cooking,
my cooker, yeah.
My cooker.
Yes. I also want to attach it, then you go to a Shylock.
Yeah. So you're trying to negotiate with this
No,
Shylock.
I don't think, and I hope that the discussion will be around how can we actually push to live with it. Because if we don't do that,
Yeah.
the next 2-3 years are likely to be very difficult.
And that's really trouble. That's really trouble. And so I think you've addressed that very seriously. So in terms of, and you have also elaborated on the other thing I wanted to ask, what are the major shortcomings of the current fiscal and monetary policies? I think you've touched on that.
Yeah, but let me add something.
Yeah,
I
you can add
feel
on
that.
that.
One of the challenges we seem to be having is that we have offices and institutions that we have created that are not necessarily doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
I mean, Parliament approves the budgets, approves the debt policy, approves all these things.
Yes.
But you don't see them coming in very strongly in terms of holding the government in place to account for how resources are being spent.
Okay.
So one would argue is either they are implicitly involved with what is going on, or what kind of capacity and support would they need?
Yes.
But you see, when they disappear, then the public concludes that, hey, these people are all together, and they are. So I think there's a role for the institutions that we have created.
Okay.
To push for the right thing to be done, for Parliament to say, hey, where we are at, we cannot continue in this trend.
You're actually absolutely right. When you think about it, because we're saying there is this social trust, the social contract, and we have Mwananchi, you and me, are represented by someone who sits in Parliament, who we elected. And you're saying now, Parliament should be that place where now this conversation we are having should be happening.
Should be happening.
And then saying, look, we have a crisis, and we must solve this crisis, and we need to bring government to account so that we don't end up in a rat hole. And when they don't seem to be addressing that, then you actually realize, well, the system is probably just...
Yeah, and the problem is that, you see, my concern is that when things go completely off, and I pray we don't get there, but we have seen countries that have treaded on this same line and have ended up where they have ended, Greece, Portugal, and all these other countries.
Yeah.
The reality is that finally somebody has to make a decision, and that decision does not have to be, and I don't think Kenyans expect decisions that are nice and comfortable.
Yes.
But they expect leadership to be able to be assured that the children they are raising and working so hard to educate will have a future.
Yeah, and I think that's where you remember in 2002, there was a kind of a real reset in the psyche of the nation when the NAC government took over, and Kenyans were so excited. We've come out of the 24-year rule of Moi. Not that it was absolutely broken as such. Moi was trying his best to steer the ship and keep things running. He kept on talking about unity, which largely, at least we didn't fight with each other. But then when the new government took over, there was a lot of excitement. One of the things that came out was the public itself was so willing to participate in ensuring compliance. Even I hear police were actually being like, look, you can't take a bribe. So are you saying that perhaps right now Kenya is headed to a place where we would need a reset of some kind, a new level of commitment, citizenry, a new generation of citizenry that is willing to engage and say, hey, no, things can't run the way they are running?
No, you said it. You said it because first, things cannot it's it will gonna call for leadership.
Yes.
It's going to call for people taking up responsibility,
Yes.
but it's also going to call for men and women who are willing to offer leadership in this country.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we have glorified wealth so much that unless somebody shows up with big wealth.
Yes.
I've already started seeing helicopters arriving for campaigns for 2022. People want to see big people, big men.
Yeah, our big man,
yes,
yes, landed here.
I think, but there's in every society there's a remnant generation.
Okay.
That decides things are going to be done differently.
Okay.
It may take time.
Yeah.
But I am one of those people who believe that there are people who. There are two kinds of people who I believe are the hope of this country. One, there are men and women who work in our government.
Yeah.
Who do the right thing.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
If you ask me, they are the reason why this government has not collapsed.
Okay. Okay.
There are police officers who don't take bribe.
Yes.
They are hated.
They are hated. Yeah.
There are magistrates who don't take bribes.
Yes.
And who are doing their best to do what is right and to provide justice.
Yes.
There are doctors and nurses who still report to work under very difficult circumstances.
Yes.
There's a lot of hope of that.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of younger generation that is also growing and seeing the emptiness, of just wealth pursuits.
Yes.
And I think there's a hope for that generation.
That generation
to support, and for me, my desire is that we are able to support such people.
Okay.
Because we cannot just always be having headlines of who stole what and who did what.
Yeah.
Can't we just have headlines of people who are doing the right thing, who are making sure that every day the right resources are being applied? People who are chiefs who are making sure the elderly are getting their monies. They go to look for those elderly people who are not even aware
that they are supposed to be
that there's some money that they are supposed to be accessing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So those are the hope.
Actually, by the way, the other issue, Dr. Abraham, one of my observation has been one of the things that has helped with the county, the creation of the county system of government, is because at the village level, it's very difficult for you to hide. You can't do something wrong and hide. For example, if you stole 10 million shillings from a county and you're one of the county officers, that information is going to reach people. You're more exposed. And that's why, by the way, you're finding, this is my own opinion, that's why you're finding corruption becoming very visible at the county. Because there are far too many people. There's maybe only one country club. That's where all these guys go.
It's true.
So you stole 10 million. I know, I signed the voucher, and the word will go around. And you're going to look very, very, very dirty. So that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So we see that clearly there are shortcomings in our policy, and I would like you to now speak to what is your outlook for the economic future of the nation. I think you've already alluded to a new generation of young people that are probably going to have a different mindset. What else do you think is likely to
I must be quick to add, actually, it's people who have a new mindset. Some of them may be old.
Yes.
So some of them may be fairly people in their olden days.
Yes.
Who have a completely different mindset.
Yes.
Of how things can be done.
Yes.
So there are two routes that I see are probable.
Yes.
In our current economic situation. One is that is heading straight to the very bottom.
Okay.
And then looking up.
Yes.
Once you hit the bottom, there's nowhere else to go.
Yes.
you have to look up.
Yes.
But that will not be nice, because countries that have reached that point
yes.
have not had it very easy. Greece got to a point they were not even able to pay salaries of government officials,
yes.
pensioners. They are not able to facilitate resources for schools and what have you, and it was a mess.
Okay.
So that's a probable route.
Yeah. When we hit the bottom.
When we hit the bottom.
Okay.
But the second one is that I still think there is a lot of space to salvage things right now.
Okay.
Because and how do you salvage things? There are two ways. First of all, applying the rule of law so that the corrupt, every society has corrupt people.
Okay. I think you need to say that again, because I think there is a fallacy that it's only Kenyans that are corrupt.
Every society has corrupt people.
Yes.
The difference is what you do with them.
Okay. Yes. What do you do with them?
Yes.
How do you rein in on
If
them?
if you make it look like all you need to do is ujipange, organize yourself before you steal.
Yes.
Get a good lawyer, get all your systems in place, good accountants and what have you.
Yes.
Then you delay, the call of justice. I think we cannot suspend the rule of law
Yes.
if we are going to deal with the corruption.
Okay.
But secondly, and
Yeah.
of immediate importance,
Yeah.
is to bite the bullet and say, this is the much money we have
Yeah.
as a country.
Yeah.
What can we do with it?
Okay.
People can take pay cuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
In private sector,
Yeah.
people have taken pay cuts in their organizations.
Exactly.
Why can't we do it in government?
Mm-hmm.
People who have a battery of 3-4 employees can actually have some of them released.
Yes.
In other words, and you're not doing this because you hate them. You're doing this because you want to stabilize things.
Okay.
If you don't deal with those two things, I don't think it will be very easy, to root out the kind of challenge. Because what will happen is that basically you're borrowing more for more to be stolen.
Yes.
And that for me is painful.
Okay.
So I'm one of those people who is really supporting and looking for people who are trying to do things and look at things from a totally different. I think solutions are there and they are written. When I talk about Parliament, every year we submit memorandums, 3-4 of them,
Yes.
to Parliament, raising a number of things.
Yes, that they can do different.
That they can do differently, that can be engaged differently, that can be, can be thought
Differently.
in a totally different way.
Yes.
Corona has shown that you can do things virtually, so everybody does not have to be, in one place crowded and all those kind of things. We can think of a governance system. Who said that everybody who is participating in governance has to be on a salary and then later on a pension?
Yeah.
There can be a different way
Yes.
of thinking about it.
Yes.
It could be that a county assembly is formed of a farmer representative, a business community representative, a doctor's representative, a stay-at-home mom, and all those people, and they meet once or twice in a month.
Yeah.
And approve what needs to be approved. It happens in some parts of the world.
Amazing. In other words, these are different.
The options are not limited.
The options are not limited.
So we cannot go with the line of the cabinet secretary of saying that we have to borrow.
Yeah.
It is not the only option.
Okay.
There are other options.
Absolutely. And I know there is a lot of pressure on him because if he doesn't have cash in his box, I'll call it a box, then he's in trouble because there are bills that needs to be paid and some people need to travel. So I think that's really...
Must they travel?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost coming to the end. I'm sure we'll be making a few final remarks. And I hope you're benefiting from this discussion and engagement. Please write to us like we've said, and if you have something to say, please you can text or call and we will respond. I know we haven't been able to respond to some of the comments that have come in the past, but we'll sieve through them, and in our next show we'll be able to bring some of those issues. But before we quit, I want to ask Dr. Rugo, what is the role of public sector in this whole? Would public sector be of help in like stepping in, or what will happen if the government goes down that route? What will happen to the public sector, and can they intervene in any way?
Do you mean the general public?
I mean,
government is public sector.
No, the corporates.
Yeah. So I think you see a society, a private actor is in need for the benefit he gains.
Yes.
Or she gains.
Yes.
That's the basic reason why you start a business.
Yes.
You don't start a business to be able to provide charity.
Yes.
You start a business to be able to provide a good and be able to make a return.
Okay.
So I think there's only so much you can expect from private sector actors.
Yes.
They are already involved.
In
providing certain basic services in healthcare, in agriculture, in water, in health, in education and the like.
Yeah.
But they cannot come to salvage a country.
Especially the public side of things.
Yeah, look at multinationals. When the cost of business goes high in one country, they relocate.
Yes.
You know, Unilever used to produce from here. They relocated to Uganda.
Oh.
That's where they produce from. You know?
Okay.
And many other companies have moved to countries where they always are moving to where they find cheaper energy, better environment for cost of business, better labor. Some of them, of course, they go to places where really the labor regulations are really poor, so that then they can. But the point is that a lot of the problems that bedevil any society have to be fixed by that particular society.
Absolutely.
Because if we leave it purely to other private actors, they have their private interests, and that's why they are formed in
Yes.
the first place.
Yeah.
My thing is that there's a lot of space in honestly and going down to the actual cost of producing public goods and services.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we have seen in places like Makueni, a hospital is built at almost a quarter the price. We have had it being built in other places.
Yes.
What makes that possible? It simply means that if you cut down, the cost of corruption,
Yes.
then you have more resources. And think a bit even from a business point of view.
Yes.
If my goal is survival, then it is in my interest that the people around me are also alive, also survive.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you run a business,
Yes.
it is in your interest that the people around you have money, so
Yes.
that they can come and buy from you.
Yes. So, I mean, it's coming down to the battle of survival.
Yes.
Survival of the nation, survival of the citizens of this country. So it's really, really amazing. So we are coming to the end of this show. And clearly, ladies and gentlemen, I believe you have learned so much from us, and you've had Dr. Rugo's take. And thank you so much, Dr. Rugo. That was very insightful, and I like your insights and the fact that you can speak so candidly. And as you can see clearly, there is the social, you could say, social-political aspect of this whole debate. It's not all numbers. You can do whatever calculations you want to do, but when push comes to shove, it will all have to come back to the Kenyan individual. Are you willing to play your part in making this nation a better nation? So we come to the end of this show, and my word for you is, let's do our part and let's make Kenya great, and let's do all we can. And may God bless you so much. We'll see you in the next episode, and welcome to the Gigi Report. My name is Godfrey. It has been a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Elevate TV.